Well, hello. Welcome to the Confused Breakfast. Do you remember the pure joy of a trip to the video rental store as a kid?
Yeah.
It's hard to beat the ease of the modern era in streaming platforms where you don't even have to leave your couch. But there was something truly special about jumping in your 90s Range Rover, heading to Blockbuster, and picking out a movie to take home and watch with the girlfriend of the man you just murdered.
Yeah.
On this podcast, we revisit and dissect some of our favorite childhood movies from that magical era to see if they still move us the way they did as kids. My name is Mike Schulte. Joining me, as always, two dudes who love to have margaritas administered intravenously. Sean Pryor and AJ Benz. How the heck are ya?
Every single time.
Can you do that?
You can.
Is that an option?
In the 90s it was.
Oh, wow.
Now there's like
before-
HIPAA laws and stuff like that.
I believe you could
Before
go.
alcohol, like blood poisoning.
Yeah,
things.
I believe you
before
could
that.
go to a bar and they could just put an IV of margarita into your veins.
I think that's a great bar idea.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually like the last time I had surgery, I remember them saying like, hey, we're going to give you about 2.5 margaritas. That's
Yeah.
what the nurse said to me.
Yeah.
And I go, okay. And she goes, you're going to feel it real quick. I go, okay, cool. Because everybody knows what 2.5 jumbo margaritas feels like.
Yes.
It's the greatest feeling of your life, but you know that it's downhill from here.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
the
It is
best-
an instant great high, but oh man.
The best drive home I've ever had. So much fun, dude.
But then when you get home, you're like breaking things.
Yeah.
And
Never climbed a mountain so far to fall off a cliff so fast.
well, boys, on today's episode, we discuss a lesser-known movie that deserves to be added to everyone's watch list. It was nominated for 3 Oscars only to prove how with it the Academy is. This film has more Oscar-winning actors and actresses in the cast than any other movie in history. There are 12. Not to mention, this movie holds the record for the most cameos in any movie in history. I'm not sure if that's a thing, but I'm going to go ahead and say it is. We're, of course, talking about 1992's The Player.
Yeah.
Well, dang it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another nostalgic journey to the past with The Confused Breakfast. Sit back, relax, and enjoy wherever you are in the world. Take it away, boys.
Well, if you are brand new to this podcast, we're going to be reviewing The Player scene by scene with a modern eye. But in order to do that properly, we must first discuss it with pure nostalgia. Sean, tell me you've seen this movie.
Not until a few days ago.
I was hoping maybe at least you had seen it.
It's always been on my list. I'm a Robert Altman fan, Tim Robbins fan, and just never got around to this one. Thank you to Starling for picking this, right? Starling picked this because he made me add to my Criterion collection, so thank you, my man. And yeah, we'll talk about it, but
All right.
never have.
AJ, what about you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I have seen this, actually.
Whoa.
I had seen this, yeah. I mean, to Dennis Quaid, the kid from 2.5 Men.
Right. Yeah.
You know, a baseball movie, right?
Yeah.
So, turns out it's not that. No, I thought we were watching a baseball movie at this time of year, and I was like, well, that's fine. And then I saw it was Tim Robbins. I was like, oh, like Shawshank? And then I saw the poster. I was like, this ain't it. This ain't nothing like I thought it was going to be. Let's go. Never seen it before.
Well, we're going to make the trifecta here. Myself as well have never even heard of this movie existing. Starling's like, what do you think about this? I was like, yeah. Just trying to sound cool.
He's like the best. I'm so excited
Yeah.
for his next pick because Election he also picked.
And Duel.
Right.
I think he picked Duel.
No,
Oh,
someone
did he?
else. But
I thought so.
Election and The Player on Criterion. So again, thank you for making me add to the collection.
There is some thought there. I think Starling did have an idea for us to do a brunch where we strictly look back on the movies that were chosen by our executive producers and just have some discussion about that.
That's
and like,
fun.
To see maybe where they differed from us. I thought that'd be a fun combo. Maybe we can do that.
What'd he think?
He was like, that was his idea.
What'd he think about this movie?
Well, Starling says,
Yeah.
nostalgia review. Let's rewind to the 90s, pre-internet. Back then, my whole movie world was shaped by Siskel and Ebert and trailers on TV. But if I missed those inputs, my rentals completely relied on a gut decision from the vibe I got from the VHS cover at the video store. I worked at one of those video stores during my senior year of high school. A bit of a dive, to be honest, complete with that questionable smelling adults-only video room in the corner. To be fair, the smell wasn't the movies. We were next to a Subway sandwiches, but I digress. I'd spend shifts circling the shelves, putting empty boxes back out, letting customers know they were available. One box that kept catching my eye was The Player. To this day, I can picture the cover burned into my brain. Tim Robbins solo with that shit-eating grin, but the real kicker for me was Whoopi Goldberg's face in a little box on the side. Finally, one Saturday, I was curious enough to put it into the VCR. The Player stood out because it was a movie about Hollywood, and to a high school kid stuck in the middle of nowhere, it felt like a peek behind the curtain at Tinseltown. My feelings were mixed. It wasn't love. It wasn't hate. A solid 6, but it left enough of an impression that decades later, I thought it was worth revisiting with you guys. Thanks for indulging me. We appreciate it, man, and we hope that anybody listening here has decided to check it out. It is on Max.
Yeah.
So it's an easy click. I know you got Max. Click on it, watch it. Obviously, we are going to spoil this movie, but I say give it a watch and give it a listen.
Do that.
Do it,
all right.
please.
Hell yeah.
Well, we're going to strip all that nostalgia of Starling away, and we're going to talk about it from a modern day eye. Sean, let's go to you for the important details of the movie. What do you got?
Produced by Nick Welsher, Michael Tolkien, David Brown, and Carrie Crocaw. Written by Michael Tolkien based off his novel. Music by Thomas Newman. He did Real Genius, The Lost Boys, The Great Outdoors, Shawshank Redemption, and American Beauty. Cinematography by Jean Lapine.
Okay.
Edited by Geraldine Perroni, directed by Robert motherfucking Altman. He directed MASH, McCabe and Mrs. Miller, The Long Goodbye, Nashville, Three Women, Popeye, Gosford Park, among others. Cast: Tim Robbins, Greta Scacchi, Fred Ward, Whoopi Goldberg, Peter Gallagher, Brian James,
You really gonna do this?
Cynthia Stevenson, Vincent D'Onofrio, Dean Stockwell, Sidney Pollack, Lyle Lovett, Jeremy Piven, Gina Gershon, and Dina Merle.
So what Sean is
I'm not
telling
gonna-
you right
I'm
now,
not gonna
what
go
he's telling
into
you
it.
is that anyone that was not named is literally bullshit, and he hates them, and he thinks
Yes.
they're terrible actors.
Yes.
Is what he's
Julia
saying.
Roberts she can just not act anymore.
Yeah.
Hate her.
Yeah.
Get on a plane, get out of the country.
Michael Tolkien, oh God, had the idea for The Player come to him as just one log line, being the log line being a killer in Los Angeles targeting unproduced screenwriters. And then a line came to him in the form of Griffin walks into his office already expecting a meeting going on without him. That's all he had for the idea, and he just ran with it. Director Robert Altman made the film Popeye with Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall, and it was not very successful. Altman hadn't made really anything of note for a while and was trying to make his film Shortcuts based off of the novel by Raymond Carver, but could not get it off the ground. Altman was then sent the script for The Player and loved it. While also having some resentment and animosity for Hollywood, the Hollywood system, he was ready to make this his next film. Altman was interested in Tim Robbins because he was a stage actor who was writing and directing his own plays and wanted him to play a character in his film Shortcuts. When that movie ultimately did not happen yet, when the production shifted to make The Player, Robin was still in Altman's mind, so he met with Robbins to talk about the role, and after about an hour, Robbins, being a fan of Altman already, accepted the role. Altman said, "Great, let's smoke a joint." He's a big pothead. Like he would just smoke on set all the time. Robert Altman would, and that's what he was kind of known for, was as an actor's director as well as a huge pothead.
Okay.
Chevy Chase had been in mind for the role, but Chase was uncomfortable with the sexuality of the character.
Huh?
I don't know about that. Principal photography began in June of 1991 and shot in Los Angeles for 8 weeks. Lots of planning went into the beginning tracking shot, particularly. The Player includes a plethora of actors who cameo in the film as a favor for Robert Altman for foregoing their salaries for the sake of the film. The LACMA Gala scene was a real party as a fundraiser for the LA County Museum. And that is all I got.
Well, thanks, Sean. Up next, we got to go to AJ. He does the research for us. We need to learn about what critics and fans thought about this movie. What do you got?
I told you I don't do postcards. I do the tomato meter.
Gross.
No, 97% certified fresh on
Damn.
this. Big hitter.
97% of all the movies we have done, that is tied in fourth place per the critics. The critics think that this movie is the exact same as Big, Ghostbusters, Jaws, Back to the Future, and Airplane.
Okay.
That's what they think.
Well, we've got the ever-present popcorn meter. 84%. 84%. Moving over to IMDb, where everybody lives, 7.5.
Tied with Beetlejuice, Batman, The Warriors, and Field of Dreams of all the movies we have done.
We've talked about like sevens, and I think a 7.5 is like, oh yeah.
Is 7.5 the movie that you're like, well, I liked it, but I people need to think I liked it more?
Yeah. It's like it's well, I mean, it's probably better than how much I liked it.
Yeah, like I didn't quite get it, but everybody else is loving it.
Yeah.
So like I'll give it a 7.5.
It's like me watching more Coen Brothers.
Yes.
You know, it's like, oh, everybody loves these, but that's fine. 7.5 on IMDb. We had a lot of hundreds coming through. As we said, critics really enjoyed this. Destin Thompson gave it that 100 out of 100, the Washington Post. A rare commodity. It's brilliant and a guilty pleasure. A subtle damning of things Hollywood. Robert Altman's serio-comedy slices its target with 1,000 imperceptible razor cuts. Another 100 out of 100. Edward Guthman at the San Francisco Chronicle said, remarkable for the uniform excellence of its cast and for the pleasure that Altman's actors take in the wide berth that he allows them. Plenty of other 100s. The lowest thing I could really find here was Jonathan Rosenbaum, Chicago Reader, gave it a 40 out of 100. It is the surface activities keeps one occupied, but never adds up to much because none of the characters is developed beyond the cartoon level, and the snobby sense of knowingness that's over everything is uncomfortably close to what the movie is supposed to be dissecting. So Jonathan Rosenbaum says, "Oh, it's just a little bit too much, I guess. There's no actual substance to the characters. It's just all underlying junk."
Maybe that was the point.
Oh, weird. Weird. Oh, thanks, Jonathan.
Maybe think about it a little bit more.
Yeah. You're a critic.
And
Be less
bitch.
critical.
Yeah.
Gosh. Let's do
And a bitch.
I'm sure he's a very nice man.
Sure, he's
I'm
great.
sure he's
for
very
Allegedly.
Allegedly a very nice man.
Oh,
okay?
God.
Whoa, don't say God.
God damn it.
Jeez.
Can't do anything anymore.
How about this one? This is a 1 out of 10. Speaking of the world, devoid. Rabster22 in 2003 said, I am fully aware that this is a film much beloved by movie critics and the like, yet it leaves me perplexed. I do not require a film to have a message, but some entertainment value would be nice. This film just leaves me cold. It is devoid of anything. He's got the stars around anything. Maybe is that anything? Is that what it does? No?
I don't.
All right.
I don't fucking know anymore.
All right. So, well, I'll just read it like that. It is devoid of anything worthy of comment. Well, you're commenting on the movie, though. I have just watched it for the third time, hoping. Do you have to do a podcast that reviews movies too?
Nobody should have to watch a movie 3 times, okay? Nobody.
I've just watched it for the third time, hoping against hope that something, he did it again, would suddenly make me nod my head in appreciation. But alas, no. It is plain dreadful.
Dreadful.
This person said, Robert Altman wasted 2 hours of my life I can never get back. Treat this film like the vile poison it is and stay. This is the movie that brings out all of the like water and wine glass people.
Yes,
like,
it is.
Devoid and vile, like the poison it is.
Not my Hollywood.
No. Bring the caviar. This is a large stinking load of pretentious crap.
I mean,
Again, I think it's kind
maybe that's what they're going
Maybe
for.
that's what they're going for?
Just check it.
From the miserable cinematography to the poor acting, this movie was painful to watch. The music was suicide-inducing.
Wow.
I would hate to see this guy's Yelp reviews. I'm just going to stop reading that guy's thing. I guess this one's 4 out of 10. I guess only watch if you're in the business? Question marks. This is K.R. Kemp. Found it slow and boring. I'm sure I didn't get a lot of the satire because I'm not in the biz. But still, the final twist we find out at the end is not worth watching the whole movie to find out. Okay. How about some 10s, guys? We'll just wrap it up here on some 10s.
All right.
I'll just give you 1 10. It says this is 10 out of 10. Mr. Clean 2. There was already Mr. Clean 1 and a regular Mr. Clean.
Of course.
Only in the movies. How many dream of being in the movies? After seeing this excellent living description, any thoughts of this should be immediately disabused. Sleeves can be laundered, pressed, and folded to look as squeaky clean as the Southern Baptists, and Altman does it superbly. A must-see movie. Griffin Mill is able to do what O.J. and Bill Clinton never could do. Get away with it. Altman's best.
Wow.
There it is.
All right.
Well, before we move on, everybody, just want to remind you on ways you can support this show. There's so many cool things. We're going to keep this free forever, but one of the best ways you can support us is patreon.com/confusedbreakfast. We have so many perks. If you join now, you get to listen to like up to 300 hours of bonus audio episodes at your fingertips. You actually get to listen to them on Spotify, which is cool because the Patreon platform, not so great. You get to vote on upcoming movies. You get to vote on, give us your modern day ratings on movies. It's one of the best ways you can support this podcast, and it's super cheap. And if you join and you're like, I hate these guys. I hate this podcast. I hate everything about it. You just go,
Skedaddle.
and you just go, I'm out of here. And we don't even know. It doesn't really even tell us.
We don't even know, and
Right.
if we did, fine.
Just fine.
We'll just make fun of you on air. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, boys, it's time to review The Player with a Modern Eye. But it dawned on me that there might be people out there that are listening to our podcast for the first time. And they're like, what is this? I don't even know what this is.
Sure, yeah.
So I figured maybe in true Hollywood fashion, I would give them our elevator pitch, our 25 words or less, like what we are here. So here's what I got. The Confused Breakfast is the premier classic movie review podcast in the world. We take your favorite movies from childhood and review them with a modern eye to see if they still hold up or if they should remain strictly in the past. Put on those British Knights, turn off Legends of the Hidden Temple because it's time to get nostalgic about your favorite movies.
That's more than 25, words. That's bullshit.
But it's a great pitch, huh?
All right.
Here we go. So Griffin Mills is a studio executive dating story editor Bonnie Chereau. His job is endangered when up-and-coming story executive Larry Levy begins working at the studio. Mill has been receiving death threats, postcards, assumed to be from a screenwriter whose pitch he rejected. Mills surmises that the disgruntled worker is David Kahane.
I just want to say, just first and foremost, I don't like saying that name.
No, it's probably my least favorite name that has ever been a name.
Yeah.
Kahane.
Kahane. It's like, can't we just like push it together?
Kane?
Just do Kane?
David Kane.
Yeah,
Oh, David Kane,
Kane.
like, I like that.
Dude, David Kane, have you seen what he's been writing recently?
That-
what he's working on now?
It
That
legitimately
project?
sounds like I wouldn't even read what he wrote. Be like, oh yeah, we'll make it.
Can't you see it right now?
Yeah.
David Kane.
Written by David Kane.
But then David Kahane is the thing that you like lift up the script and you're like, you get stuck trying to think the right pronunciation of his name because you're only reading. You're like,
Kahane?
Kahane. Is it more Italian? Do you say the E at the end? Kahane? Kahan. I don't have time for this. And then you just forget about
Yeah.
it. So change your name, David. All right. go
It's
ahead.
actually his fault that he died. It's his last name's fault.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely
It
his.
sounds like a cat like puking up a hairball.
All right, let's get it out of the way, Sean. Let's
Yeah.
talk about this. Having never known anything about this movie, you guys know how I do this. I don't even want to know the summary. I literally push play on it, and I go, here we go. It's kind of like I've never seen. You know, like if you would have asked me what this movie was about, I would have come up with something completely stupid and not this. Oh, whatever. Like, let's watch this movie, and then this intro shot happens, 8 minutes long without a cut, and I'm like, oh, like I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about that, but if you can do this, it makes me so excited to watch your movie.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, like Robert Altman is famous for having like a huge kind of big cast, like a ensemble thing where it's like you do probably have like your main antagonist or protagonist, but surrounding him is a bunch of actors who are names, of course, but they also have a lot to do with the plot. And he like, it's almost like he's like putting you in their kind of world and letting you hang out with them with the way he directs. And then this is just doing everything in one thing, let alone, you know, making cuts to like have you relate to these characters. But in this, you're just like, you get the sense that it's a very busy lot. You get the sense like he goes through like 3 meetings in this whole thing. You get to know like his actual boss, Brian James, and then
to everybody,
yeah,
almost like
and
right
then
off the bat.
Fred Ward's a security guard, and there's so much going on here. It's incredible.
You could watch this 10 times in a row and like pick up on something new. Fred Ward, the last time I watched it, Fred Ward's character, every time he's in there twice, this 8 minutes at separate times, and each time he's talking about the importance of tracking shots and how he hates that they're not used in movies the way they used to be.
Cut. Yeah,
And that was honestly the moment where I was like, wait, have we cut yet?
Isn't that funny?
It takes us, you don't know that this is happening until you get about halfway through.
That was kind of a similar thing for me. I noticed it because I was like, I think it was by the time it got with Fred Ward almost again that I was like, this is a oneer. I was like, wait a second.
They don't call them oneers.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. I was like, this is a long shot. I don't know. But I also want to make note that, because you're right, I fall into it now too. I'm just like infatuated. Now then I just start. I like can't pull my eyes away. I'm like, when are they going to cut it?
And then you think about what did they change behind the scene when it came back around?
Right.
The behind the scenes stuff is what I love so much about this.
And by the way, can we also talk about their meta immediately with the clapper?
Yeah.
Immediately, and the first thing that you see is, all right, and cut and mark, action.
Yep.
And it starts, and we never come back like that.
No.
It's a fourth wall break to start the movie. What? I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's incredible. And this took 15 takes, and they printed 5 of them, and they kept the 10th take.
Yeah.
So sick.
And like they had this just jib, this crane pretty much, and they just kind of had it like had the top pretty much kind of free flowing, and then just had it go down or like to the side, whatever. They just did that for 15 takes, and it is probably it is like one of the most famous opening shots
sure,
of
this
all
is
time.
like one of them, yeah.
Oh yeah. And there's real writers here. Everyone pitching is a real Hollywood screenwriter, and Robert Altman just come up with something.
Just make it up.
Just come up with something, and when it comes to you, we'll film it.
Well,
so he had to.
Hey, so I got it. It's like I don't have time for you. You're gonna have to give it over to Bonnie. It's like, no, just picture it. We're on a desert planet, and there's 2 suns. Well, who plays the suns? No, two suns, like stars, like, in the sky. It's just like that. Like I started looking for that the entire time of this movie. Once I heard that line, I was like, oh, I can't wait for the literal like switcheroos that they're gonna play.
Who was pitching The Graduate Part 2? Wasn't that the actual
He was
writer?
one of the writers
of
the Graduate.
original. And that, like, this is amazing because it feels so prophetic to me that this is 1992 and they're literally like kind of making fun of the fact that they're regurgitating scripts when that wasn't really what, like, the world we're in now is just like, guys, hear me out. The Goonies.
2.
Well, can we get
It's
a
like,
fresh?
all
New,
right.
Can we get a fresh new face in there?
No.
Maybe.
Well,
Well, I would really like if we could get a fresh new face in there, like a Cynthia Erivo or something like that.
well, I don't know. I think we're. I mean, well, who do you have coming back for it? Because I mean, I don't think we can do a lot of this without bringing back the original cast.
Well, I'm sure
who-
Kyuhei Kwan is like he would be in on it.
Well,
like,
it'd be
for
great
sure.
if we could get him with recent Academy Award, not too far off. But I think we're gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to go a little further with this. I mean, what are we gonna do? It's you gonna get everybody? Is Sean Astin free? Can we get Sean Astin?
They have to
I gotta-
save the world from a Demogorgon.
Cool.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Keep going.
But
keep
the
going.
Demogorgon's bi.
Oh.
Okay. What does he buy? What is he buying? What is he
well,
buying? Does he
no,
have
he-
the purchasing power?
Well, they're selling and no, I think you.
Go ahead.
This is bad.
That's-
No,
This is bad.
guys.
Keep going.
This is my meeting. Goonies 2.
Okay, I like
It's
that.
literally done.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like,
It's so
I like
great
how
how
he's
prophetic
like,
it is.
someone's got to play the daughter. He's like, yeah, I'm thinking more like a young face, like a Julia Roberts. They come up with it at
yeah.
the same time because it's like she's the name at the time, so they're just gonna get her,
The one with the two ladies that are pitching at the same time, and like everyone's just talking over each other, and like adding on to it, or being like trying to get the words in to this. What are these are they're 3-minute meetings. They're
Yes.
2-minute meetings.
Yeah.
So it's just like
Single serving friends here.
Oh man,
And
it's
this
so
is
weird.
it's the truth too, because like in the special features on the disc, they were like, yeah, you'll go into a meeting like this, or like these execs, like Tim Robbins is playing, they hear like 50 pitches a day, and maybe 1 or 2 will get made.
Man.
No, probably not even.
Not
Like,
even that, right?
he basically at one point described that they will make 12 movies a year, and they get like 1,000. They hear like 1,000 pitches a day. Do the math. Like if you want to be in Hollywood and you want to make movies and stuff like this is a stark, like bleak landscape. If you watch this movie, just oh my god, this makes me never want to be a part of any of this ever. Just as a human being, like I can't tell you my life and ambitions and dreams and everything I've ever worked on for 42 years in 3 minutes.
Everything is moving so fast. How do you have? How,
And
how do you hear it?
Did you have a good morning? Oh, you had a bad morning today? Then you don't care.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
might be the greatest pitch you've ever heard, but you're not listening.
Correct. That's another actually really good point. Like thinking about it, if he's coming in, he drives in, and from the moment he's not even out of his car, basically he's getting pitched at. So like if he's like not if he spilled a little coffee in his car or got his order mixed up at Starbucks, he's pissed.
He's pissed.
and he doesn't want to hear shit.
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
Incredible. But like he's Robert Altman has us to also trust these actual screenwriters who aren't actors to not fuck up
Yeah.
in a 8-minute shot. Like it's. That would be the most terrifying thing for me, especially for the screener, like the one who looks like who gets mistaken for Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
That's actual fact. He actually did back in the day. But like
I know Harvey Keitel.
Yeah.
But I know you do.
but he's like the camera is like he's almost like looking past the camera, that guy. But I just have to imagine just like he's one of the ending ones.
Ooh,
If he
God.
fucks up, like
Which he probably
all
did.
of what we did fucked up.
I can't imagine how great that feels to complete something like that.
Oh my God.
We did it for that Pork Tornadoes in the Air Tonight video. Like it was just it's a 4-minute long video that is one take, but it was sped up, and we did it like 5 times and got a good take. It was like a minute and a half. It was easy. There were 4 of us to figure it out.
Yeah.
And we practiced it 5 times and did it. But that felt like an utter accomplishment that I can't even imagine. And that's why, did you finally watch Haunting of Hill House this year yet?
He couldn't take it, man.
He couldn't take it. We
was a
did
fragile little heart.
overwhelm him.
We had
quite
a
bit.
lot going on, and we had. Man, by the time we got to Creep Show, guys, and that was just a brunch. No, I didn't get to watch it.
It's okay. That's my favorite that I've ever seen. Is
It's
that
incredible.
one episode mid-season in the funeral home, in the pre-funeral home. No, that's the actual funeral.
Yeah,
home.
to actually-
No, yeah.
That might be my favorite I've ever seen.
That's where
But-
they go to retire.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I did one that it was a spoof of The Shining, and we were doing the shot of him following her up the stairs, like berating her pretty much. We were doing that, but we needed to get it all in one. So I had to like have these lines going and have someone just kind of say the other person's lines off screen. And so I was looking at nothing and saying the lines, and I would, it took like 15, 16 times.
Wow.
But then you do it.
And then you do it, and it feels good, yeah. And you never put online.
And I believe, or no, maybe this was a different one. Our movie coming up was shot in chronological order. I wonder if this one was. This would have been the first thing they did when they got on set.
I think this is one of the first things.
Wow,
Yeah.
Jesus, man. I mean, that puts you in a good spot to move forward, though.
They
If you
did.
can do that,
They
you're ready to
rehearsed
roll.
for like a week, I think.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, you talked about it, I think, in a different movie, Sean. It's like you get this thing wrapped up, though. It's like it's all downhill from here.
Yeah.
Maybe it just gave a great feeling like, oh, wow, we can accomplish anything now.
Yeah, we did
on
that
set.
shit. There's nothing else we can't do.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one of my biggest issues with this movie is the cameos. I love it. I enjoy seeing people, and like I've never seen and sometimes they don't even say anything. They're just there.
Yeah.
But the problem I have is that we don't know. Some people are just playing themselves, and then some people are playing a character.
That is, I 100% agree with you.
Like you've got Peter Gallagher being Larry Levy. Like he's one of the only kind of main characters that is like he's a character in the movie, but you don't really even like know that at first. You're like, oh look, it's Peter Gallagher.
Yep.
Oh nope, he's no, he's acting, he's a character, but Burt Reynolds is Burt Reynolds. Okay,
Right.
like that was one thing. It felt a little too much to me sometimes to keep it straight.
I see that. In my opinion, I disagree just because it blurs the lines even more so for me. Where like if you were out in LA or something and you saw Peter Gallagher with like say Brad Pitt or something like that, you're gonna notice Brad Pitt first.
Okay.
And
Man,
you're
that's
like-
a great point.
You're gonna look at Peter Gallagher and like, who must be his like secretary or something. And then you look again, and it's fucking Peter Gallagher,
Yeah.
And so I think it's like they cast the actual main cast. They were fairly well known, but not like
Not
as
huge.
well known as
Tim Robbins wasn't
not as well
much.
known as like Jeff Goldblum or like
Correct.
Julia Roberts or the other people that are in this movie.
Ooh, but there are a few though. Like we'll get to her eventually. Whoopi Goldberg might have been one of the most famous actresses
She-
on the planet.
yeah,
at
but
this
She
point.
playing
is
like
star
a
power.
lower level
Yeah,
character
okay,
though.
yes.
So like it
and we know it right away because she's in a police station with
Yeah.
like a police jacket on.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay.
Yeah,
And so that's-
certainly less. Certainly not around the other stars
'Kay.
as much.
Correct.
Right?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
that makes
so
sense.
like when
Right.
you see Burt Reynolds at the table and it's actually Burt Reynolds and the camera just kind of
Dude, what a
it's
shot,
like,
man.
it makes them fade away and their audio fade away. It's just like they're really not important. And but that's Burt Reynolds, I don't know. It blurs the lines so well for me where I'm just like it's the satire of it is that blurring of those lines in my opinion.
I love those shots, like that shot specifically when they're still filming that same shot, longer shot, and it's between Burt Reynolds and his manager or whoever,
Mm-hmm.
and then audio of them is gone, and
But
I have
it's-
the audio from far away, and I loved it. I
Dude,
loved it.
Just a tip to anybody out there: there might be some psychopaths that are going to listen to this first before they go and actually watch the movie because they're psychos. Please either be in a situation where you can turn up a really good sound system really loud, which I cannot do, or wear headphones and watch this movie because there's scenes like that with Burt Reynolds, like. You can make out it's just perfectly sound edited where you're hearing what him and his agent are saying, and then it slowly fades away while Tim Robbins' conversation comes up, and then his fades out and Burt Reynolds fades back in. You wouldn't really pick that up if you were just watching TV at a moderate volume.
Yeah.
Right.
You wouldn't catch all that dialogue, but it's genius.
It's another one of Altman's things where it's just like the kind of overlapping dialogue with everyone else. Almost like his Girl Friday-ish, where it's just like super fast.
Yeah.
And like you're almost like you can't decipher what people are saying, but you can a little bit. And it's not like really high in the mix either.
Yes.
It's kind of lower. That just makes it more of like it adds to the chaos of Hollywood because he goes into meetings for like 2 minutes and orders of water, doesn't even fucking drink it.
He
you
was
know.
there for not even 2 minutes.
This is a wine glass. Can I have my water in a water glass? And then he brings it back.
I mean, I understand. Okay?
Oh, I totally. It's like, yeah, it's a funny thing. At the same time, you're kind of like, yeah, it looks like a decent restaurant. They probably wouldn't do that. Like, I don't know. They wouldn't mess that up.
Nah.
But then the fact that he brings back the bottle of water again, and then he just gets up and the waiter's still there, and the waiter's just like, whatever. I get
happens
treated
all the
like
time.
this all the time.
I'm going to charge him for this.
Yeah,
Because it's a bottle of water.
He's going to pay for it. They're going to pay for it somehow.
Burt Reynolds is my favorite cameo, though, because everybody else is just doing what you maybe think they would be doing. This is what I think Burt Reynolds would really be like.
Yeah.
Just being like, yeah, fuck. Yeah,
Another one of
fucking
those
asshole.
Hollywood
This
assholes.
is bullshit.
Yeah, I guess he's a good director. I don't know.
I'm
Yeah.
Burt Reynolds.
yeah.
I'm Burt Reynolds.
I directed Gator.
I have total control over my world because I'm Burt Reynolds, and you are floating through it.
Well, if
Okay.
you watch Paul Thomas Anderson movies, I mean, like more of his kind of more later works, I guess, like There'll Be Blood and especially The Master or even his latest one, Licorice Pizza. He's a huge fan of Robert Altman and takes a lot from that.
Nice.
Like a lot of his like zooms and stuff that Robert Altman will do, he does that. But a lot of his like characters who just overlap dialogue all the time, that's something that he takes from him as well. And it's a really interesting way to tell a story, to be like, it's almost more immersive to just be like, I don't know, the chaos of it makes you kind of like have to lean in a little
Yeah.
bit. Like, okay,
Right.
what's going on here? Yeah.
Who's in the conversation right now? I think it's really good. Also, I think it's a nice perception that it gives that this is probably the way Mill is all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He hears and sees people around him all the time that he might want to work with or be shaking hands with or glad handing, you know? So he's always picking up pieces of others' conversations and always listening. And like when he ends up seeing John Cusack and Angelica Huston and sees that, who's that Levy or who is that? That's Levy with with, and he calls him Johnny. Calls him Johnny in that, and that's another thing. It's like he's never actually invested on what's in front of him. He's always listening to the things around him. I think that's why that audio is like so great. Like that's why it's such a great play. It's a great perspective, an audio perspective. I think that's rare.
Yeah, I mean, one conversation's happening in one ear, and another conversation is happening in another, and then like in front of him is someone doing a pitch or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that.
Yeah, and then you go back and it's kind of tough because you know that's Angelica Huston and John, and he's walking by, and they never tell them what to say. I don't think he ever gave them any
all the cameos
lines.
were just ad libs, right?
It was all ad libs. And so
draw on your own life and like how these situations are and just act that way.
Yeah.
you go through this, so I'm not going to tell you how to act in this situation. You don't have to act in this situation. And he's saying, oh, you're going to be down at in Florida or something, or wherever it was. He's like, we might be down there for the thing. We're probably going to be. And then it's like, all right, well, hey, we'll see you later. We'll catch up. It's always that.
Yeah.
And I think I think those little cameos are brilliant.
It's the 3 beers deep at a bar at a happy hour and you see a guy from high school you haven't seen in 20 years. We should hang out, dude. Hit me up, man.
It's the empty situation like that where you're like, yeah, we should hang out. I don't really mean it though.
No,
Yeah.
no.
I'm
and
just saying
you're
this for
saying
now.
it too, and none of us mean it, but
Yeah.
we should just say it.
Yeah.
The problem is that then you do see somebody that you do actually mean it, and I'm like, oh, they probably think
No,
they actually don't want it.
I do mean
They
it. We should
actually don't
definitely
want
hang out. Oh, fuck.
What do you guys think of Tim Robbins in this role?
Tim Robbins in this role is pretty great. I don't like him, which is why he's so good in this role. I also find it so crazy sometimes how fucking tall he is.
Yeah.
And how sometimes he does not fit he doesn't fit in this Hollywood world for some reason to me.
I mean, it adds to it, I think.
6'5", dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his choice in suits are just god awful.
Double-breasted every time.
Oh.
Yeah, just it's a little over the top. I was trying to think of
Literally over the top.
there was somebody that I kind of had a glimpse of at some point. Maybe I'll think about it, but it was so quick. I didn't end up writing anything down. But is there anybody else that you think it could have been?
I
mean,
like the
necessarily?
Chevy Chase thought.
The Chevy Chase
I
thought?
I do like the idea of it. This
Yeah.
happened again with something else where
I
he was
remember
going to
this.
take the role, and we're like, we're not saying he would have been better, but we just would have liked to have seen it
Right.
to see what could have happened.
Yes.
Yeah, for like 3 minutes I entertained that idea,
Yes.
and then I'm like, oh, but I fucking hate Chevy Chase.
Duh.
I really do, man. But like, I think he could have been a good choice for this role because he is a fucking asshole.
Correct.
You know.
He could have the snide would have come out.
Yeah.
Maybe more clear, and
And
maybe that's not what they were going for. Though.
Yeah, it may be way too tongue in cheek with him.
Sure, there
and
you
like
go.
that's why I don't like him is because he just doesn't take anything seriously whatsoever.
Everything
And they didn't
is
want
a joke.
megastar famous. I mean, think about Shawshank's 94, and that's Tim Robbins.
Right.
You know, and so he's not there yet. Wasn't he in Top Gun? Kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
You're
like
right.
he's just that guy. You know, everybody kind of knows him, but then he becomes Tim Robbins. So I like the choice in this one.
There's no like greater mumbler out there than Tim Robbins. Like he's always like mumbling his inner monologue to himself, or just like if someone says something, he's the best at like listening to something, but half-heartedly listening to something for some reason. Someone be talking, he's like, yeah, just like, no, this,
Right.
no. Yeah, I don't know. He's the best at
Yeah,
that.
that's
I don't
pretty
know. I
damn
don't
good.
know why.
Yeah, it especially comes through later on, like with Shawshank. He has his it's that daydreamer ability.
Yeah.
You know, like he's listening, but he's not really listening, and he's kind of in his own world, and kind of that it's that say what now kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like that's the vibe, and it starts to shine through here. I hope to see my friend one day.
Hope the Pacific is as blue as it is in my dreams. I hope.
Wrong move, guys. It's wrong. It's the wrong one.
People are quick to point out though that with every passing movie like The Player that we do, they're like just a reminder you did The Player before you did Shawshank
Yep.
or Forrest Gump. Or
Oh yeah.
they're gonna start getting pretty heavy on that. I think.
Yeah,
so.
that's true.
Yeah.
Scene 2.
Well,
Fortunately, the podcast is no fairy tale
Hey!
story.
Mill lurks around Kahane's home and is told by Kahane's girlfriend June Gudmundsdottir. She tells him that Kahane is at a showing of The Bicycle Thief. Mill goes to the theater pretending to recognize Kahane in the lobby. The two go to the nearby bar and have some drinks. In the bar's parking lot, two men fight. Mills loses his balance and falls and feels threatened, kills Kahane, then makes the death look like a robbery gone wrong. Mill attends Kahane's funeral and gets along with June. I don't know about you guys, but I thought Mighty Ducks 2 was the one that came up with the Iceland is very nice and Greenland is full of ice joke.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's what I always thought as
No,
well.
not Mighty Ducks 2. That was 1994. This movie apparently was the one that gave us the no. Iceland is very nice. And
Yeah.
Beat him to the
Greenland is full
punch.
of ice. And that's the first time I've ever heard someone say that they changed the name on purpose to like make people.
To make the Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah, go somewhere
Yeah.
else. But if they got there, by the way, let's just talk about that for a second. If they got there and they're like, wait a second, that is the other place. Let's go there now.
Exactly.
That doesn't change anything.
I did look that up because I had never heard that before. And they're not saying that was what the reason was, but they're saying that there are accounts saying that we did want to trick people to tell them to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iceland. Who wants to go to Iceland?
Yeah, they were back then. That means we have to be believing that the Vikings had updated maps that said Iceland and Greenland, where it's not like today, where it's just Google Maps. You know?
Or
Or
just
just
says nice on Iceland
Yeah.
and Greenland.
Or just believing
Icky.
that they knew how to navigate and that they were smart enough to be like, yeah, this is America. I landed here.
Yeah.
No, you've never been on North American soil, but
Boom.
okay, you got it, Columbus.
I was,
Sure thing,
I
bro.
was waiting
Sure
for,
thing, bro.
I was waiting for the why do we park in the driveway when we drive on the parkway? It's such a good one. Man.
It's good.
That one gets me.
Can we talk about June though?
Yeah.
I understand this so well because I'm watching this for the first time and I'm absolutely infatuated with this woman. And I don't know how they picked her because she's pretty much an unknown. By the way, she married her first cousin in real life, yeah. And they have a child. Just want to throw that out there because I like to look up who's married to who and when I see them in movies and just pointing that out.
Hollywood
she was
Royal
married to
Bloodline.
Vincent
You
D'Onofrio.
You used to until now.
She was married to Vincent D'Onofrio and they have a child together.
Oh, really?
Oh,
yes.
okay.
In real life, but then
Okay.
she married her first cousin
Oh,
and had a child with him. Anyway,
There's no good guys out there anymore.
No.
You know.
She is.
They're all married, taken, or your cousin. So just go with your cousin. Apparently,
I
Go ahead.
don't know what the proper word is, but she's like just so perfect at you understanding what Mills is doing here.
She's
And
mesmerizing.
She's mesmerizing. Thank you. Like I don't know what it is, but she's perfect in this role. And to see him just like kind of lose any smarts that he has because this is the dumbest thing you could ever do. Like,
It's true.
being on her property, trespassing, then like talking to her, telling her who he is, then going, and so she's now going to know that he's going to go there, and then him doing what he did, man. Like, but you understand it.
Yeah, I mean, this whole scene happened where he's creeping outside of her house and talking to her, and I'm like, when is this gonna cut? Because I'm like, this isn't. She's just kind of like a whatever character, right? And then obviously find out throughout the movie that she's not. But in this whole scene, I'm just infatuated with their conversation and what she has to say and what she's painting. And Tim Robbins is so good in this too, where he's just so charming. You're just like, man, I could talk to a girl like that probably.
I bet I could do that. It's like, no, unfortunately, you're just standing outside her window.
Yeah.
They're just a creepy guy.
You're not talking to her. You're
No,
just staring.
Sean, you are at a showing of The Bicycle Thief right now.
Yeah.
you're not able to talk to women like this, okay?
I gotta get out of here.
Dude, I love the line.
I'm going.
I love the line later where he's saying to the detective or whatever. He's like, I want to see the bicycle thief. Bicycle thief. He says, that's an art movie. I'm talking about movies. God damn it,
Dude, I know. This is Vincent D'Onofrio is maybe one of my favorite, now thinking about it, guys I want to watch in anything, because he can also be anything.
I didn't
Yeah.
know. I didn't even know it was him. I was just like, yeah, look at this guy. You know, like it just took me a while to even realize it was him.
He's a bit of a chameleon,
Yes, he
and
is.
he's so great. I mean, think about him in this role, and then a great like outlier or other side of the spectrum of is like Daredevil. Did you ever watch the Daredevil series?
Yeah.
Dude.
was he pinball? Or
Yeah. Boss.
Boss Hoss.
Yeah, that's it. Kingpin. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
King Boss Hoss Pig. Pin. But he's in that. So you just think about like the range that he has, and we're talking about 92 right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm infatuated as much with his performance in this. And just kind of I wanted to get to know him more in this because he is our insight. We got to take a step back here because we're kind of going along like, okay, Mill, yeah, maybe he is like he's a Hollywood like agent or guy, but we're still kind of like on his side
We're on Mill's side for
a long time,
pretty much the whole movie almost.
because
I mean, we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
but
because he's the one getting death threats,
Yeah.
like, and he's just
this
doing
is
his
scary. He's
job,
just doing his job, dude.
right? As far as we know, and
This
then,
guy sent death threats to him.
yeah, and we think it could be this guy, and then we haven't gotten to the flipped on its head yet.
Right.
Well, it's
And so that's what's exciting about it. It's like I wanted to know more from David Kahane.
It's the battle I like a lot between like the artist and the person who produces the art, or like the art can't happen without this guy who is pretty much soulless.
Yes.
And just out for money. And they will, like, when we get to the ending, you know, they will change the ending to a movie of like the artist's vision and somehow make it the artist's vision's whole plan the whole time to actually change the ending to the movie. And it's done so well. The satire throughout this movie is done so well. And following an executive like this, being so soulless and heartless to creatives like Cline, it's like so ironic and so much fun to watch. It's like I compare this to Election just because of the
Yeah, good
satire
call.
in that. Being like, these are just pieces of shit why do we vote for anybody? But like even this, where it's like, why do we go to the movies when we know it's just going to be churned out cookie cutter bullshit pretty much every single time, you know?
Yeah.
And they don't like good ideas. They just want a sellable idea.
Yes.
You know.
We don't want a Hollywood ending. Don't do the Hollywood ending.
Yeah.
We won't. We're not going to do it. It's like, you know, that was a big theme
Yes.
kind of throughout this whole thing.
And
no
then they
happy
do.
endings. No, you know.
How interesting would it be to eliminate the writers and directors from the executive process? We can only hope. That's
can
what he
only
says later. It's like
AI, bro.
it's just on point and it's in your face satire.
Yeah, it's and man, like Mills is he's just an idiot. He's so unaware of everything. The fact that we talked about how he went to June, he left all this information with June. Now he just walks into the theater, a 6'5" dude in an ugly ass suit as it's ending, and then expects to just walk up to David Kahane and just be like, "Well, how are you?"
Yeah.
Like he really genuinely thinks he can just be Be like, dude, we're good. Like, everything's
Yeah.
good, right?
He
I
can
saw this
dupe
movie
it.
too.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
And then then they get in this big fight. Well, first of all, they go to the karaoke bar.
Karaoke bar.
Right.
Did you see Brian Tochi on stage?
That's right.
So I thought he was just playing a character. Brian Tochi, of course, from like Revenge of the Nerds.
Yes.
And,
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm like, oh, he's just being a guy at a karaoke bar. No, he's credited as himself. So it's Brian Tochi.
That's amazing.
Brian Tochi just on his night off
All
at
right,
the Japanese.
That's the
karaoke.
best cameo in this
That's
movie.
what I'm saying.
That's
you
it.
were 100% right.
One
That's the best
millisecond.
cameo.
He's like singing on stage.
Takeshi from Revenge of the
Exactly.
Nerds is doing a karaoke cameo in the player.
One
That's
second.
so fucking awesome.
Done. 1 second. Done. It's
Oh, that's
so
my
good,
favorite.
man. But then they get in this huge fight and.
Against a Skid Row, Guns N' Roses, Megadeth poster wall. Fucking sick,
Let's
dude.
go, dude.
That's awesome.
You want that prop
You
on
want
our
the
wall,
prop?
dude?
No.
No,
Just gonna
cool.
do that
Just
wall
checking.
back there as you're. I think that this fight, it shows, it again. This is that big revealing. I think this is as much of the reveal as anything. You can say that obviously because somebody dies here, but I think it's a huge reveal because before he does it, you have Kahane who sees what he does and is like, oh man, he's like, Mill, you okay? He's like, oh Jesus. It's like, I'm so sorry. Like, he's passionate, but he's not a killer.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then Mill flips on him from going to like, well, let's just talk about it, to going like, fuck you, and killing him.
Mm-hmm.
Wild.
It's crazy.
It's a great little flip that we get to see of like character development. You know what I mean?
It's like I'm thinking of this now, but like watching this movie is like a flip of a noir, but you're following the non-detective. You're following like the culprit of it. And it's so fitting for a movie like this because like Long Goodbye is a pretty much kind of a neo-noir 70s thing what Robert Altman did. And to think of it like a noir where he's like going to the funeral after this and the next scene, or we're at the end of that scene, right?
What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
he attends
He's
Kahane's
going to the funeral, yep.
So he gets to the funeral and it's like that's something like a classic noir would do, where it's just like I'm gotta go see the funeral of the guy that died or whatever,
Yeah.
and then like gets the femme fatale girl at the funeral. You know,
you're right.
it's such like a classic noir setup, but it's almost flipped on its head. And even Tim Robbins' smile on his face the whole time is just like smiling is the satire, like literally on screen for some reason for
Yeah.
me.
It's literally you're right. It's literally like, I could tell her heart was broken.
Yeah.
But not even she knew it.
Leslie Nielsen
You know,
speaking
It's
on
like,
that.
and then I saw her.
And
you
then
know?
I saw her
wasn't-
dressed in white at a funeral, which she was.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, which is very
not,
fun.
not one tear shed, which
Not
made
one
me
tear shed.
think I could get in those bands.
It's like a midget at a urinal. I was gonna have to stay on my toes. It's like, I love it.
She's not wet out of her eyes, but I bet she's wet out of other places.
Yeah, all right.
Is that good? Can we end that one?
She's
good.
crying, just not from her eyes.
Jesus.
That's what dude, they cut it from the movie. That was part of it.
that was-
yeah.
Those
yeah.
were the exact words he said.
Yep.
That's what he was thinking.
Yep.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody online did point out that the guy, the friend writer giving the eulogy was wearing the exact same outfit as David Kahane was wearing.
It's just the uniform of writers in Hollywood.
It's red undershirt, brown tan
like,
overcoat,
yeah.
glasses, boots,
Jeans,
blue
like
jeans.
the belt is like.
Was
Yeah.
it like a bolo tie or something?
I don't
maybe?
think he had a bolo tie.
Okay.
But he was like kind of disheveled and stuff too. I don't know. It's funny. Like, and then he reads the thing. Yeah. He reads David Kahane's like last thing, dressed as David Kahane.
And he saw a boot. And that was it.
That was it.
Those are his last words that he wrote down.
Rest in peace.
So dumb.
you just
Like
had-
an incomplete fucking description of a scene.
At the very end, he's like, "That was it." TM. But-
Well, let's move on to scene 3 then. So, Studio Chief of Security Walter Stuckel confronts Mill about the murder. Mill receives a postcard from the writer suggesting they meet at a club. While Mill's waiting, he's cornered by 2 screenwriters who pitch a script called Habeas Corpus. Mill's stalker never shows up for the meeting. Leaving the club, Mill receives a fax in his Range Rover from the stalking writer, advising him to look under his raincoat, where he discovers a live rattlesnake, whereby he stops the car and flees.
One of my favorite lines in this movie is at the funeral when she says to Mill, June says to Mill, she says, he was uniquely untalented. One of my biggest fears in my life. If I die and I'm described like that, uniquely untalented. So like I did untalented things in a bit of a different way.
Yeah.
That was my opening. I had that written down as joining me as always two dudes who are uniquely untalented. And then I said, I'm going to...
Well, thank you. I would have died.
I'm going to take
I would have
that
had a
away.
heart
It's
attack.
like, boy, that might be a little harsh.
I do want to point out a really weird thing I read. So first of all, Cynthia Stevenson, what do you think about her? She's the one that plays the girlfriend.
Bonnie.
She plays Bonnie. I read just this... It was such a weird thing that I wanted to point it out and just see what you thought about it. So, we had this moment in the hot tub with Mills and Bonnie, and Bonnie shows a little booby there, Robert Altman said he cast Cynthia Stevenson because she didn't look like a Hollywood glamour actress, and she was great about it. She said, "Why me? Nobody's ever asked me to be nude before." I said, "That's the reason." And then... That's why. Okay, so Paul Newman then commented that you don't get to see the tits you want to see, and you get to see the ones you don't want to see. And that was it. It was all about movies and people's expectations of movies. Putting them together in the jacuzzi was the Hollywood thing in itself.
What?
Yeah, Paul Newman basically said he made a comment about this, saying you don't get to see the tits you want to see.
Like in movies in general, or just this movie?
Just this movie.
Okay.
Being Greta, you would love to see her tits.
Great.
That's what everyone's thinking. But instead, you see Cynthia, the tits you don't want to see.
I see. I understand because sometimes you go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say.
I'm trying to unpack this.
I think it also it continues on in other movies as well.
Okay.
If he's whether or not he's talking about other movies, but sometimes you don't get to see you don't always get to see the starlet in a nude scene. You get to see the strippers on the pole.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the kind of thing, and so. It's like you get the tits that you might not want to see, but it's the tits you're supposed to see. And I'm saying tits a lot.
I know. Tits. That's tits.
But I think I see what he's saying. It's weird that he's only talking about this movie, though.
Yeah, and I just found it weird that they're basically just being like, yeah, Cynthia, you're not hot. That's why we hired you.
I thought she was super cute.
That's what I said. I
yeah.
thought she was one of my favorite people in the movie,
Yeah.
actually, to tell you the truth.
Well, and I think that's why later on they talk about when she does have the scene, they have the sex scene, you only see it from the neck up.
Yes.
You
Well,
never see the rest of their bodies.
Scotchy
that was her, yeah.
she was uncomfortable with.
Sure.
She was like
No.
almost pregnant. Or like almost pregnant.
Sure.
She was pre-pregnant.
She was. I was just saying, like almost pregnant and at a pre-funeral home.
She's like, I don't know, a couple weeks pregnant or something like that.
Okay.
So
Like,
she was
"Nah,
like a
we're not
little
doing
uncomfortable. I think we'll get to it. I think that was a clever way to shoot
Yeah.
a sex scene.
Yeah. Well, and it kind of goes along with the tropes, fighting the tropes
Yeah.
of Hollywood. Like we're gonna have the steamy built-up sex scene, and you're only gonna see the neck up. It's pretty funny, actually. That's a funny
and if
joke.
you're gonna show Cynthia's rack, other than like the one that you like, Julia Roberts isn't. Why can't we see her tits? Fuck off.
Yeah, right.
Well, and let's be real. Like, if you're Paul Newman, then apparently you have a choice in what kind of tits you get. Well, none of us are over here like, those aren't the tits I wanted to see.
Yeah, nobody said
Those
that.
aren't the what? Like, nobody's like that.
I
We're all
saw
like, yeah,
Fern
let's
Gully.
go.
I saw Fern Gully the other day. No
Yeah.
tits in
No
that.
tits.
Ah, what a letdown.
I hate Hollywood.
I hate Hollywood.
Well, then going into it, like these Hollywood parties, man, that it portrays is just so gross to me. Like,
Yeah.
just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean, it's cool to think that you can walk in and Jack Lemmon's playing the piano. Like,
My favorite moment, other than finding out about Takeshi doing, karaoke.
you thought for sure, like,
Seeing
we'd get to talk to him or maybe
Jack-
have him walk up, be like, "Oh, I'm Jack Lemmon. Good to meet you."
Yeah,
Like, nope.
Jack Lemmon being Jack Lemmon. That is if I could go back in time and shake somebody's hand, it would be Jack Lemmon.
Right.
Look at the way she moves. It's like Jello on springs. Hell yeah.
I mean, like that's a fun thought to go to a Hollywood party and see that, but then at the same time, like, the gross, just the conversations, just no one cares about anybody. Everybody's just like, who's that? I got to go talk to that one.
Again,
Who's this?
everyone's just having conversations but not listening to anybody.
Yes.
It seems, and it's in like as an audience member, you're like, I think I'm listening. I'm trying to at least, but like I don't think you're supposed to like get everything that everyone is saying. You know what I'm saying?
Well, boy, it's great they got the joke out of the way earlier on when he say, "Can we talk about something other than Hollywood?
Right.
We're intelligent people." That kind of thing.
Yes.
That's great because again, I feel like it's making these jokes and prepping you for the fact like, see, this is going to keep happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
We want you to know that we're aware of it and we're going to keep doing it.
But I
because
could see,
this is Hollywood.
I could see someone not getting the satire of this movie.
100%.
Which would be funny in itself because just like, well, you're in the system, I think, probably. Like, you will go see all these cookie cutter movies, and this movie you're not going to get because it's kind of making fun of the way that these are sold, pretty much.
Dude, the reason you wouldn't get this movie is because I think kind of what you're saying, what I'm getting though too is you don't get the satire of this movie because you're too close to the actual content of it and they're making fun of you, or the opposite, and you're just like, when's the explosions?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Where are the tits from the star of the movie?
Or you're watching the final screening of Habeas Corpus. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Man, that movie gave me everything I needed. Fuck yeah.
It gave me everything I asked for, because that makes a great movie.
Yeah.
But the Hollywood party stuff, it's like, and then the shots following people, like the Jeff Goldblum conversation and following people around, and it's like, what's funny is it's never not work. It seems. Even when they get in there and he talks to the writer, the deaf writer.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, we were looking at a rewrite in like the Act 3 and stuff, and then he kind of cuts her off. It's like, don't talk rewrites and stuff like that at a party. It's like, he's still working.
Yes.
He's still on. He's still switched on. Like, it's city that never sleeps kind of crap.
Yeah, but so are they. Like, so they're still working too. Like,
Everybody is. That's why they're at the party.
She might be like, if they're at a party, their human side might come out. Rather me pitching this in an office somewhere.
But the other flip side of this is 90% of the actors, the cameo actors who are just playing themselves, are the ones who are tired of it all.
Oh yeah,
They're the ones exhausted by it.
Oh, they all get it.
They are the ones who are like, can we talk about anything else?
That's true.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. Like Andy McDowell.
Yeah.
She's like, no, I'm not related to any of them.
Yeah.
I've had this conversation every day of my life for the
Wow,
last
great.
30 years.
I really need to find a place where Malcolm McDowell doesn't visit, apparently. It's just like, God.
I saw him. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
I know.
Malcolm McDowell. I was so sick. He has one of the best lines too, where he's like, "You're all the same."
Yeah. Next time you want to badmouth me, do it to my face.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking good.
Great.
Before we get to these writers and their pitches, if we want to talk about that, but Detective Whoopi, I loved her in this.
I did read a few comments, and I heard a few things saying that some people didn't like her in this, and that it was just a weird role. I might have been my favorite part of the movie.
She's really good, especially later.
Dude, that whole scene that we'll eventually get to is probably my favorite scene of the movie.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like, she does this very well. It reminds me of Willem Dafoe in American Psycho.
Okay. Yeah. Good call.
Yeah.
Good call.
I would put it up there, even in the sense of sometimes it feels like she's playing this differently. Like she knows sometimes.
Sometimes she does.
Sometimes she doesn't know.
That's a great call.
It just
And
felt
sometimes she
very
doesn't
reminiscent.
care and is just like talking about tampons.
Correct.
It's like weird.
It like she's over it.
Yeah.
It was great. I think it was a very well played role that she did.
Yeah.
I think
100%.
Lyle Lovett kind of sneaking around as well is just like, I don't know what it is about it, but that man on screen, and then when he's given lines, it's like, wow, are you so fucking funny too, dude?
That he had never. So Lyle Lovett was definitely a well-known person. I think he was probably dating or married to Julia Roberts at this point.
Yeah.
which everybody's always like, what the fuck? Like, look, that guy? And I remember thinking that because he's a very strange looking man.
He's a caricature.
Yes, he is.
on
And
the screen.
He was well known for his music, but this was the first time he's ever been on screen in anything. And give me more.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
Yeah, I thought he was like the character of like kind of if Ryan Gosling in The Nice Guys was a B character in something, that's
yeah.
what this would
I like that a lot.
be. Like he's super funny and looks like the cover of Eraserhead. Yeah.
There's a point I want to say too, because I think one of the critic reviews kind of made mention of it or something, but there are moments that seem very cartoonish about this movie, and that's what makes me again. It's like a knock again at Hollywood. It's like it's all bullshit. It's all fake.
This would never happen.
Yeah, this is a cartoon that they're like living in. It's interesting.
God, fax machines in cars.
It's crazy.
Good Lord.
Dude.
That was like a thing.
Are you talking? We're talking like peak, like rich guy.
This is peak
like,
rich guy.
You
right
are like some people had the car phone. This dude had a car fax.
He's busy.
This guy's living in Demolition Man, like future already in 1992.
he was
Let's be
being
real.
shown the Carfax
Oh yeah.
in 1992.
Oh yeah.
That's good.
Thanks,
Get
man.
it? That's really good, man.
Oh, no.
That's fucking good. Give it
You know,
to him.
I
Give it to him.
I don't know why they
Give it to
canceled.
him. AJ just got it.
I don't
Give
know
it to
why
him.
they canceled our comedy show, man. Like, look at this
Oh,
shit.
man.
There it is.
We're
You
fucking
friggin' got it.
on
We're
fire.
fucking
dude.
funny, dude.
Jeez. Holy cow. Yeah. No. That rattled my world because I was gonna make a MapQuest joke.
Like
Like
the
a
snake.
rattlesnake.
And,
Like a
yeah.
snake.
There it is. Hey. Man, he's on fire. Cripes.
I don't have to say anything else.
I'm gonna leave.
Hey, was that snake in a box or was it just under a coat?
It was in a box.
Then were you wondering like I was like to just put the lid back on the box maybe?
Did you see the box?
No.
See-
Did it do one
What's
of
in
those
the
like
box?
open
It's
things?
like one of the magic
the box.
boxes.
Oh,
and
where it
like
just goes
the
flop.
the sides fell down once you
Ah,
take
so
the lid
can't
off.
Put the
Yeah. What if it was like it's like don't open till Christmas. She's like, oh, thank God. Maybe I won't hear from him.
He
till
knew right
then.
away that this is the type of
I'll
person
just-
that will open it
I'll just
immediately.
put this. Yeah, exactly. He's like, he can't help himself. This guy knew, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, what if it was? He's like, oh, good. I've got a few more months here. I can finally pick a movie and not have to worry about death threats until at least Christmas. And then he goes back and opens it. He's like, oh. Well, this guy's joke didn't land. He's like,
I bet he thought I was going to
God,
open it, didn't
it's
he?
like, God, that guy is a bad writer.
Well, I'm glad he's dead. I'm glad I killed that fucker.
Oh, man.
The whole scene of these, well, Dean Stockwell and the other guy, the writer, director guy, of them trying to pitch the scene to him, and he's like, guys, I seriously, I have a meeting. Like, I can't talk right now. This whole, I don't know, this is one of my favorite scenes, but it was just like kind of anxiety inducing up until the point where he starts pitching the movie, and he says things like, the candles are lighting the umbrellas. He's like, oh, that's good. I haven't seen that before in a movie. And it kind of sounds like an okay movie.
I agree. The first time they did the pitch, I was like,
Yeah.
all right.
You're like, yeah, like Tim Robbins is like, okay, maybe, and he thinks it's shit because it's not going to be marketable, you know. But I don't know why this scene was like one of my favorites because I think it was just his performance,
Yeah.
not Dean Stockwell, but the other guy. I'll figure out his get
The guy that actually did the pitch.
Yeah.
The guy actually pitching.
He's
it.
really good.
Well, I think it also adds like, I mean, we're also talking about like it adds some anxiety here because the whole time he's like after dealing with the McDowells, he's like he's on edge. He's really on edge. And because he's like, no, like you can't be here. I am waiting for somebody. We're waiting to see if other guy who's actually the cop. We're waiting to see if it's actually him who's been stalking him and stuff. We're waiting for this, and there's this a lot of tension kind of built up on this. And then he gets into the pitch, and a lot of that tension starts to float away.
Yeah.
Because we're just like he's giving a
He went
great
back into
pitch.
work mode.
And he went back
Oh.
into work, and he's like, okay. And maybe he is a little enthralled, but also he's kind of hearing this in the sense of and building his own idea of like I'm gonna give this to Levy and let him bomb on it. So he's like devising his own plan and getting comfortable like with this work mode stuff, the tension floats away, and then all of a sudden we get that postcard again.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, you were supposed to become alone. So that's why I think it's a great scene, because it's a roller coaster of a scene with but there's no like action.
Yeah.
There's no sex. There's
Yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean?
I think that's right.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Richard E. Grant is that actor.
Nice.
He's very good. Yeah, I totally agree. And the one thing about the postcards is that Robert Altman wrote all those himself. Would just do that.
Nice.
So that says handwriting.
Yeah,
That's cool.
but it's also funny to think for me that like the guy who's doing this is just kind of watching from afar, and he's got like a stack of postcards. He's like,
Yeah.
which one would be good for this one?
Topical,
Humphrey
topical.
Bogart? No.
Topical.
For like Cary Grant. Yeah, we'll get a Cary Grant.
Get a
in there.
Cary Grant in there. Like, yeah, exactly. What was I gonna say? I have my prop. I didn't say it.
Ooh, here's a prop.
It's the big long postcard one
That's a cool one.
that he gets.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like that one right there. Because it's mostly because in itself, though, it's also obnoxious to give somebody. It's kind of a
It
joke.
really is.
So that's what I want.
I'm sticking with the postcard theme. I want the first one, the "Your Hollywood is Dead" one.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
I'm surprised that's not a band name somewhere.
Your Hollywood is dead.
Your Hollywood is
Hollywood undead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that means
Masks.
different things. I don't know.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm gonna go for the Oscar Whoopi picks up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fred
that'd be a
Ward's
good
like
one.
37 grams. Yeah. Kind of heavy.
Kinda heavy.
Heavier in person, you know.
Heavier in person. Nice.
Let's move on to scene 4. So Griffin Mill realizes he has feelings for June, having persuaded Bonnie to leave for New York on studio business. Mills takes June to a Hollywood Awards banquet, and their relationship blossoms. Apprehensive that Larry Levy continues encroaching on his job, Mill phones Levy and invites the two writers to pitch habeas corpus. Mill convinces Levy that the scenario is good and the movie will be an Oscar contender. Mill asks June to go away with him to Acapulco, and Bonnie confronts him about his relationship with June. That night party, you said, Sean, it was an actual party, like the award ceremony?
Yeah, the L.A. Museum, like Conservative Museum or something like that. It's actual party it was like a fundraiser that they were doing for the museum. And they actually invited like Nick Nolte out, Cher out. Everyone was like invited to this, but they all knew that Robert Altman was shooting a movie as well. And there's like even a documentary on the disc of this where they're just showing the behind the scenes of it. Like real food, real drinks and everything, but he was just like, yeah, there's going to be cameras around and I'm going to put this in a movie. And they were like, you're Robert Altman, so fuck yeah, we don't care. And so it was a fundraiser, so like all these people that were at the party chipped in money for the movie pretty much and to just give to the museum. And so, yeah, I mean, this whole thing was real. They had like actual people or like news stations filming it, but like they filmed them. They got the permission to get their footage and everything like that as well. Yeah, super cool. And like everyone was dressed in tuxes. Like the whole crew was dressed in tuxes.
Nice.
And so like they could just run around and do stuff and they would be kind of incognito with just having tuxes on, being like maybe they were carrying like a thing or like a carry on a clipboard, you look important kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they would just be easy like that, shot it in one night and good to go.
What a genius way to do it. I mean, and there's some great cameos there. You got a peak Gary Busey mullet.
Yeah, look at that thing.
Oh my God, that early 90s Busey mullet was amazing. Saw a little Terry Garr there for a bit. R.I.P. Terry Garr. They did estimate that if all of the
Garr and the
celebrities,
stars.
if every one of the celebrities who did cameos were to charge normal asking prices, the budget for this film would be in excess of $100 million just on salaries alone.
Oh my God.
So they saved $100 million. And I think it's brilliant that they were able to put all these celebrity cameos there. No scripted dialogue. After the movie, they received all these awards and high praise from Hollywood. And Robert Altman remarked to Tim Robbins that I think we were too nice to Hollywood in the film because it shouldn't, a film making fun of Hollywood should not be nominated for Oscars.
Right.
And they were like, oh, maybe we didn't really drive home our point as well as we thought we were trying. I guess.
That's pretty funny. It's like, it's like, well, maybe we shouldn't have been so, we should have been a little bit more direct with our point.
At the same time, though, man, like, it's probably because they didn't get it.
Like 100%.
It's probably because they didn't.
They're in the business, like you were saying.
They don't see satire in this. They don't see like an inside joke of this because they're just so inside. Especially the Academy is just like, oh well, Robert Altman's making a movie and it's well acted, it was well directed. Yeah, we'll nominate it. It's got to be. I guarantee that it's just like they just don't see it.
It's so great too that like no one's listening and everybody's talking during the speeches, because I'm sure they actively made great edits there, but the fact that he's speaking and saying heartfelt words and everybody's still talking about pitches and like, did you know this? Did you may see that guy? We got to introduce you to that guy over there. It's just the whole movie just paints a picture of Hollywood that is just like, yep, that's how it goes over there.
It's just the town. It's just a town built on who you know and can you get enough time with them to be memorable? That's really like the whole theme of the movie. Is really what it is. Like, I was the one part that I came back to, or that I was going back to, is when Levy is finally like he's in their boardroom, and I think it's the one that Mills shows up late to or something. Earlier on, and so but going back to that part of it. Of well, we can write these stories. It's in our papers. It's in whatever. And then you like again. It's just like we're omitting the art from this. And like, how often do you see it's again? It just goes back to the writers are the ones constantly pitching, constantly trying to glad hand to the people like Mill who have the money. And like it's this constant theme. Again, I just have to go back to it. The actors are never the ones doing this.
No.
They're never the ones doing it. They're the ones tired of it. And I just think it's really funny because for me, it would seem like a modern day one of LA would be more focused on the actors, like a lot of actors trying to get work. Is like, I don't know. It's just a weird thing to me that we're doing a movie about Hollywood that's not as focused on the actors.
Yeah, and they would check your Twitter followers, your Instagram followers, and like if those are big, like that puts you up into the rankings of who might hire you,
Right.
Are you a certain ethnicity, they have to do all it's that checklist. But, this in the 90s it was this checklist of like, well, does it have an alien in it? Like those are popular right now, with that one movie coming out or some shit.
Right.
It's all bureaucracy bullshit. How these things get made.
Thinking about music and movies that were either made but we just never had a chance to hear about them, or that were just cut and never made, is sad. To think of how many great movies and like songs and music out there could have been part of the world, but somebody's just like was having a bad day. It's like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
Nope, done. Gone.
It's just weird. It's weird that we get deprived of it because you're right, because it could have just been a bad day for the wrong person,
exactly.
or the right person. So
we do got to talk about the Jarrett Layoff Confused Breakfast actor database.
Before you get to that, after this gala scene, I asked myself, I'm like, did Starling pick this just to torture Jarrett Layoff?
Jarrett was very unhappy upon finding out this movie and all of the people in there. He expressed it in the Discord. He's like, Starling, I love you. We're friends and all, but fuck you.
Okay, you might deserve that, Starling. I mean, this is a great movie, but you might deserve that.
And the best part is I'm not even going to dive fully into his work.
Absolutely not.
We're only going to talk about the top ones.
We don't
here.
have time.
The based on these,
so many people a single time probably into this list.
We'll do it some other day. They might be rising up the list. There were two actors that hit 4 of the movies we've done. This is their 4th role. We did just mention Gary Busey. That is his 4th role. Do you have it's another male actor. He doesn't say anything, but he has a great little kind of behind the scenes cameo at a restaurant or a party. Did you catch Martin Mull in there?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Martin Mull.
I did see him.
That's his 4th role. I believe he just passed away as well too, right?
Yeah.
R.I.P. And then you got a couple at the 3 tier. We got Terry Garr. This is her 3rd role. Gina Gershon, and Jeff Goldblum, all at their 3rd movies that we've done so far. I did hear about 2 other cameos that would have added people higher up on our list, but they got cut. Jeff Daniels was playing golf in a surgeon's gown at a hospital. That scene got caught, and Patrick Swayze was showing off karate moves in one scene.
Damn.
And both of those were cut. So
Why couldn't we have that?
unfortunately, we could have had both of those.
Damn
That
it.
is so sad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now I need that movie of Patrick Swayze doing karate moves and
Jeff Daniels
playing golf in a
in a surgeon's gown.
what's that movie? I need
Yep.
that.
I need that so bad.
Yep.
Ugh.
We talk a lot about Mills and how stupid he is. This is just like he's got a long-term girlfriend here that he's been dating for a while, Bonnie. He just killed a man and now is deciding to, in a very extremely public place, just bring June with him and the gallivanting around town. And like, I know this is pre-internet.
Yeah.
And it's hard for us to view like, well, man, it didn't, if somebody couldn't tweet about it or get a photo, it probably didn't happen. It's like, no, everyone, I think Bonnie even says later on, like, I know everyone in that room. And do you think they're not going to tell me what was happening there?
If there was a town in 1992 that was close, like could be considered as close to the internet, it's LA. Because everybody freaking talks. It's a town of talking, as we've seen in this movie.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, you are. It's stupidity, or I think at this point, we just have to start realizing he just doesn't care.
He's so in love and infatuated with with June. He's like, don't care.
He just doesn't give a shit about anything, dude. Like, I mean, he just got away with murder. He's getting away with murder throughout this movie. Like,
And as
up
it
to this
continues, he
point.
just like, okay,
So it's like he can get away with anything.
that's true.
At
And he
this
probably
point.
has gotten away with a lot of
A
stuff.
lot of stuff.
This is probably not the first person he's killed.
No, it's certainly not the first time that he's probably just like dated somebody from work
Yeah.
who's one of the rewriters.
It's not the first time that someone on this studio has killed someone because who's our security
Ward?
guard? Fred Ward's like, oh yeah, this happens all the time. Like, this is why I'm here.
Yeah,
He knows exactly what to do.
Yeah, he's like, this is day one shit.
He's
This is your first killing?
I
Fuck,
got you.
dude.
well, because and what a great interaction again, because he comes in like basically like a lawyer almost, saying, "Look, tell me what happened, okay? I know what happened." Fred Ward, he's like, "This ain't my first rodeo. All right, have you seen Tremors?"
I love Fred Ward.
And
He's so good.
but
God.
he comes in playing that
R.I.P.
great, beautiful hard ass. You know what I mean? And then he kind of flips the script, and he's just like, "Look, this is my job to make sure that the studio is not liable and like at fault here."
The studio and everyone herein
In.
is okay.
Yeah.
So I got you, bro.
Yeah. It's like, I just wanted to kind of see how you were handling it. He's like kind of messing with him almost. And then he
Jesus.
flips it on him. He's like, it's my job to keep this under wraps if whatever did go wrong.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Like, I love those moments. I think there's just a lot of great, like, subversion of our expectations. And then, like, oh, it's Hollywood, though.
Yeah.
Remember? Don't forget, we're in Hollywood. There you go.
Absolutely.
Final scene. At the airport, he suggests a change of plans to June and the pair head for an isolated desert resort and spa. During their weekend, Griffin and June consummate their relationship. Mills is called to the police station to participate in a lineup what turns out to be a false claim. 1 year later, studio power players are watching the end of Habeas Corpus. Mills is in charge of the studio now, and June is his wife and pregnant with his child. Bonnie objects to the changes and is fired. The postcard guy called blackmails Mills into greenlighting his new script.
Well, did we skip over the tampon scene?
I think we did, but I had it written here, so we'll lump in all the
Okay.
police scenes here. Like,
Okay.
let's talk about it.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite scenes. You said one of yours
I
favorite.
think it is my favorite
It's
scene.
just like the combination of Lyle Lovett, the girl who really doesn't say anything. Willa?
Her name's Willa.
Nice. There you go.
Oh, that's where you got it.
Wow,
Yeah, dude. No,
You have seen this
I have
movie.
seen this
Wow, dude.
movie. Yeah, they said Willa. I was like, huh? Excuse me.
Willa was like, huh? She woke up, started crying. You're like,
Yeah,
fuck.
she did. Damn it.
Son of a.
But when he first gets into the police station and goes like into her, I was like, what the fuck is he doing?
It's so
No,
good.
out
He's
here,
used
out
to
here.
going into the big
Yes.
execs closed door office.
Yeah.
No. Out here. That's my lieutenant.
Lyle
like-
Lovett collecting dead flies on the thing. He just saw freaks. He's like, one of us. What the hell's going on here?
And he
man?
hasn't said a word up until this point,
Exactly.
too. And now he's like perfectly well spoken. You're like, Jesus Christ. I thought he was the killer.
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember, these are normies. Yeah, they're cops and stuff, but they're not cops in a Hollywood movie. They're just cops in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So there's cops. They're just normal people. Like
we wouldn't do that.
You know what I mean?
They
Like,
did
they're
that to
talking
that fellow, the King fellow over there. Like,
Yeah.
This is Pasadena. We wouldn't do that.
yeah, they're not in the biz,
They
right?
could never in a million years think about having a conversation about tampons, let alone the size of the tampon you need in a Hollywood boardroom.
Right.
But here at the office, they're like, yeah, duh. No, you know that. I have the bigger ones. You know that. Give me these. Where are mine? You know?
Yeah.
They're regular people.
Yep.
Like, I killed a fly and was like, here's a fly. Instead of, like, we hire someone to kill the flies here for us.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
exactly.
They didn't really have much for this scene either. This is like a lot of Whoopi Goldberg and like all of them kind of improvising. Tim Robbins as well. And Fred Ward, not even in the scene. He was on set, so he helped out with just like the tampon scene. He was like, what if we talked about tampons or something? Like, he would just bring up shit just to like pitch at them and be like, and they just create a scene out of it, and this is it. And it's one of the best.
And it's
great.
You said it about the scene earlier where it just like it's suspenseful. It just kind of like you're feeling Tim Robbins' character just like, God, am I in trouble? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, no, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Things are falling. He's Jesus. I mean, they make it very uncomfortable for him in this scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And say what you want about Whoopi. Like you can talk about Whoopi as a person or whatever
Sure.
in modern day times, but Whoopi is so talented as an actress, and her comedic chops are great. And this is 1992. When Ghost came out in 1990, there may not have been a more popular, well-known character on the face of this earth. And then Sister Act would have been right before it, right after it, something like that. I actually need to look that up.
I think she won an Oscar for Ghost as well.
92 was Sister Act as well.
Okay.
So this movie, Sister Act, Ghost, Sister Act 2, Jesus,
She's killing it.
dude, she's killing it, and she deservedly so. She's one of my favorite roles in this entire
Yeah,
movie.
she's
Sister
really
Act
good.
3, Secret of the Ooze.
Let's go.
Back in time.
Yeah, Sister Act 4.
Kick back.
Kick
yeah.
back, Mega Mountain.
Drop it like a bad habit, or what is it? What is it on there? Yeah.
It's a habit.
A habit, yeah. See?
Yeah.
Pretty. She is prolific career.
She's a great actress. And then comes the one where she coaches basketball.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's fine. You can stop there.
Still I got a groove.
You can stop there.
Well, okay. So
Color purple.
I do like this. I like the scene. This is one of the scenes, though. I will say this. I want to say this. It was one that really confused me because of the way it ended.
Right?
Like, it ends like a bad dream.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody would wake up from this, like it's even doing the distorted like thing. It's like, and they're laughing at him, and they're like, it's just like, this is like a bad dream. But then he just walks out.
Yeah.
Well, what if Mills actually fell and hit his head earlier on with his fight with Kahane, and this is all just everything from that fight is just
Yeah, you got that?
no.
What if everything?
We headed into that?
Do you want to?
What if everything from here on out is a result of a really bad concussion? He got?
What if he fell? Kahane pushed him. He fell down, and then pretty much anything from that moment in time through here is just his brain. He's in a coma. His brain is doing weird shit.
Yeah.
Telling him some stories, because a lot of this is pretty unbelievable that he could get away with this, that he could fall in love with June, and she would fall in love with him, having killed her boyfriend, and knowing it, which he basically confesses to. So
I think this is basically the same movie as Jacob's Ladder.
do ya?
I don't want to spoil Jacob's Ladder, but spoilers for Jacob's Ladder, I guess, that he is dead the whole time, and this is all kind of a fever dream. So maybe he died when Kahane pushed him into the little reservoir thing, and this is all his journey to get to heaven.
See?
But he doesn't.
But he gets to heaven.
But he does. Okay.
See?
To finally ascend.
Okay,
This is all
okay.
purgatory.
Okay,
This is all
purgatory, cool.
Sure, I
I
like
mean,
it.
just- I'm
Okay,
throwing it out
purgatory.
there.
I haven't heard that one very much. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm
Okay,
thinking like
keep going.
more like low, like especially in the darker scenes, more low lighting, especially like because I really want the darkness to kind of envelop our main character a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah. But when it's daytime, like kind of and everyone's awake, he's talking to people. People aren't really really listening to him that much,
Okay.
And we're gonna have Whoopi Goldberg in it.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
You think you can get Whoopi Goldberg?
Well, I think our editor did a movie with her. I think we could probably get her number and ask her to do it. She might not. I don't think she's that busy. Sister Act. I don't think it'll be a hit.
Okay.
Well, that sounds like a terrible movie.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Who you got playing Kahane? No, sorry. No, I actually think that's a really fun play.
Because
to
this
be honest,
really doesn't
like,
feel
on it.
real.
No, it doesn't.
This all feels kind of weird.
it starts, and he starts, you can see that he just kind of, I think this is a testament to Tim Robbins. He does just seem to get a little bit more and more maniacal as the movie goes on ever since that fall.
His treatment of Bonnie as it goes on is pretty bad.
It's
Yeah,
terrible.
like she never existed almost.
Basically.
Yeah.
Like, but in this scene, she confronts him about June.
Taking a girl named June with you.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck, dude? What are you doing? Like, fuck you. And like, somebody calls him Mr. M.
Yeah.
Or at the resort, someone like they call him Mr. M and dial M for murder is on the wall.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Perfect, just kind of subtle things in there to get you to kind of like, yeah, he's a fucking murderer. Or remind him everywhere he goes that he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a piece of shit.
Right.
He really is a piece of shit. And he's trying to confess to the murder during the love scene. And like, she's like, that's fine. Let's talk about June a little bit, because June is a very interesting character. Like, we are all infatuated with her, but what's her story? Like, she just lost a boyfriend. She apparently kind of lies about a lot of stuff. Like, she doesn't, he goes, you're not from Iceland, are you? And she goes, when did I say that? And like, there's a lot of weird things that she doesn't seem to care about in this whole thing. She gives him that weird look after they have coitus and they're sitting in the mud baths, and she's kind of like,
Yeah.
did that guy just kill my boyfriend? And now, but then we're moving on.
But then
Like,
it's fine, yeah.
she's an interesting, all along I thought maybe she had something to do with the killing. Like, I thought maybe she was the one sending the postcards. Like, did you guys, the first time you saw this movie, did you know who the killer, or not the killer, the postcard sender was, the threatening person?
No.
Because we thought it was Kahane, and then they were moving on. So did you have any did you think maybe it was Lyle Lovett for a little bit before we found out he was a cop?
A little bit, yeah.
Did you think June had anything to do with it maybe at some point?
Ish, but I'm thinking about it now, and I'm like, well, that would be a perfect noir thing to do, but also like a perfect thing for this movie to do would flip that on its head. It's like, no, it's not June. It wouldn't be the femme fatale, you know?
Yeah, it would make more sense that it's somebody that we've never met or seen on the screen.
Do you know who it actually was?
Huh.
It was confirmed in the Criterion Collection commentary that a guy named Phil was the one responsible for blackmailing and threatening Griffin. Phil was the writer friend giving the eulogy at the funeral.
And he's the voice on the phone
And-
at the end.
Yes, and if you go back and you listen to his voice at the funeral giving the eulogy, and then you listen to his the voice that calls at the very end, it is the same voice.
No,
So
man.
Phil and Kahane were in this together.
Yeah.
Like, they both hated this guy, and Phil was the one just sending the postcards, and Kahane obviously hated him, just wasn't doing the
Right.
postcard stuff. So
Man.
I thought that was really cool to find out that there was indeed a person that was doing this, and you did see him in the movie.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool. I'm glad, because that's usually the biggest bummer for me.
Yeah.
Is it's like you're being strung along this whole time, and in reality, we never saw or met him. It's just like,
He was sending
Thanks.
them to himself as motivation
Yeah.
to have a better career.
yeah, exactly.
The called in for lineup thing too, as well, is like a very
Yeah.
anxiety-inducing scene.
Very much so.
And I love his lawyer. Whoever plays his lawyer
guy's
is so
awesome.
good. But yeah, it's just another thing where it's just like, no, you just got off scot-free. You know, like, she just didn't notice you. She looks at Lyle Lovett more than she does him. You know, it's weird.
She says, "I'm sure of it." It was number 3.
No, it's him.
The best part is the lawyer goes, "Ma'am, are those prescription glasses?" Yeah, you can't answer that. You can't answer that. Okay. I'm just asking.
Oh, by the way, you get some Tim Robbins side dong.
You get a little
out of the,
yeah.
you get some muddy side dong.
Yeah.
There, ladies, you know,
Check this
or
movie
anybody,
out.
you know, whatever you're.
Mrs.
I watched this
Mrs.
movie.
Skin.
I watched this movie, and I wanted to see the side character's dick.
Yeah.
And I got to see the main character's
Yeah, you
dick.
didn't get to see. Yeah,
Want to see Lyle
exactly.
Lovett's
What the
dong,
fuck,
and I
dude?
saw his.
You never get to see the dong you want to see.
I want to see Lyle Lovett's lover.
Yeah.
Love missile.
Love
Ooh.
missile. Now, from the lineup, and him just kind of getting out of it and just walking away. Did you guys just were you guys just like, oh, this is over?
Ish. I thought, yeah.
Or did you think it was going to be like some comeback?
No, because
thing
we
again?
still had some underlying thing. We had to see habeas corpus
Yeah.
and what happened with Levy, and this is just so like. What do you think about this film?
Wasn't this supposed to be like a movie? It was like the movie in the movie.
Someone actually
but
pitched
somebody
it to
actually, yeah.
like an unnamed writer, like this was his idea.
There was
that actually got pitched to Altman or something like that. And he's like, what?
Yeah. So
What a terrible name too. Jesus.
I just played with a band called the Habeas Corpus this past weekend.
Because of this?
No, I don't know. It was just, but it's weird that we're doing this. The player and this movie is called Habeas Corpus, and I play with a band just this weekend called Habeas Corpus.
it's a better band name than it is a movie.
It definitely
title.
is.
The literal meaning of habeas corpus is you should have the body.
Oh,
There you go.
Okay.
gotcha.
Which
Okay.
still doesn't explain their movie very well, but that's fine. Whatever you want.
This is amazing because throughout the entirety of like the pitching and all that stuff, he's like, because the whole idea of this movie was he was going to drop it on Levy, so that way Levy would basically bomb. He would come in and save the day. We find out that his bosses end up dying or whatever.
I don't think he died. I think he got shoved out.
Oh, we got okay,
Yeah, fired,
okay,
whatever.
No longer the boss.
Yep.
And so are we to expect then that he did exactly what he said, and he's going to come in and save this movie?
I think he did. I think
That's
that's
what Mill
happened,
did?
right?
Yeah.
Mill. I don't hate that.
I know.
It needs to
I
be
don't like
Mills.
that it's Mills.
Yes, and we're gonna say
it should be Mill, but yeah,
Mills
but yeah.
let Levy do it, and they probably made it a certain amount of way through to where they realized it was bad, and then Mills is like, "Well, we got to do the things.
For safety, let's shoot this end.
We're adding in the star power.
Star power, happy ending, change all this stuff, which apparently works because that's what everybody wanted to see."
And yeah, because even the writer, the guy who was pitching, he even says, "Did you forget about how the first test screenings went?
Yes.
It was awful."
Yeah.
Yes,
And
you're
that's what he
right.
was saying. And so, that, like you said earlier, Sean, now you have the guy who's back, and he's just like, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
He's so excited about it.
They don't give a fuck.
He didn't give a crap.
You-
He wanted to sell the movie.
And it just goes to show you, like, a lot of people will talk about selling out in any form of entertainment business, but these guys have been eating McDonald's for like 7 years, living in squalor.
100%.
And yes, they would love to make their artistic vision of like the perfect movie, but ultimately they're like, nah, we'll do whatever you want. Just make it a success so that we can make more.
Yeah.
It's John Mayer writing Your Body is a Wonderland.
So he
Right.
can do
so that
whatever
he
the
can do
hell else
whatever he wants. And many people forget that like selling out is not necessarily a negative thing if it allows you to do what you want to do for the rest
Directors do it all the time, where they're like two for you, one for me, kind of thing.
Yes.
Well-
you know, they'll do the big pictures and have them make money, and then I'll do my personal fucking story about flowers.
That's the podcast here, guys.
Exactly.
We do Terminator and Gladiator, and then we throw in the player. you know?
Exactly.
Like, it's just how it goes.
Yeah, well, it's the deal. It's the how many picture deal. That's what they're going to negotiate. All right, we want you to come in. Well, I will come in and do this movie, or we can do this movie. Maybe it's the same thing for writers, or I think it is the same thing for writers.
It is, yeah.
Because it's like we'll take this movie. We're going to do this, but we will give you. We do have to change some things. Look, we will give you a 3-picture deal, though, meaning we will make 2 more movies with you after
You're
this.
explaining literally the situation for next week's movie.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
And there it is. So yeah, it's so funny, guys, when you see Julia Roberts and then when Bruce Willis breaks on the scene. You just know, like
I'd watch it.
even in your heart as a viewer of this movie, of the movie in the movie, you're just like, oh, damn it. You know?
They've been talking about her all
And
movie
like,
long.
there's really no context to it. Like, she passes out, and it just cuts to the security guard going, "What?"
Oh my God.
And then, I mean, basically, didn't he release poisonous gas into the entire room of people?
Yeah.
Like, so now everybody's going to die?
It's okay, man. It's just like anything, any sort of medicine. You know, if you don't take the right amount, it's really not effective at all.
It's the Wet Hot American Summer trope of when they save the kids from the rapids and they walk away going,
Next time, you're driving.
it's fucking beautiful.
Traffic was a bitch.
Traffic was a bitch. Yeah. The only way only Bruce Willis could deliver that line that way.
Oh, yeah.
What took you so long? Sorry, babe. traffic was a bitch.
That smile.
Just like that smile.
Yeah.
And it's just and then the wrap up. He
Yep.
got
Perfect
everything.
ending.
He got everything. He got away with everything.
Unreal. Like
And it's, you know what? It's going to turn out to be an incredible movie.
yeah.
Like he's going to
it'll
make
be
it's going to be a
success.
It's going to make him even more
Box
money.
office
box
breaker.
office success.
Yeah. And he literally got everything for himself.
Podcast will
and
talk
got
about it years later.
Yes.
Exactly.
Sorry.
I mean, I can't wait to do habeas corpus. and he goes up, a child on the way, the big house, the fancy car, literally the dream.
Yeah,
And-
he's running the company too now.
Yeah, he's
right?
running
Yep.
the company.
Yep.
The
Levy
player.
answers to
I
him.
like that.
Like, yes. Like we just everything that he had a problem with is now a dream to
Yep.
him. And it's amazing. It's a great way to end
The
this.
rich get richer, baby.
Yeah. We don't want a happy ending. This is not a happy
It's
ending.
not a happy ending.
It's not a happy ending for
It is
anyone
for him.
except for him.
Yep.
Man, that's good.
Well, we have dissected the player with a modern eye. Time to give it a modern day rating. Shawners, let's start with you, man. What do you think about this thing? First time seeing it.
First time. I love Robert Altman films a lot. I just think that this thing is incredible all the way through, pretty much. The direction is fantastic. Like the slow zooms that we get are incredible. The epic long shot in the beginning, you can't get better than this. The acting from everybody is so spot on. Like even Cynthia, who plays Bonnie, they were, after she kind of I guess kind of gets fired, right, from or like let
Right.
go, she's walking to the office again to talk to Tim Robbins' character, and she breaks her heel. She did that on accident, and then Robert Altman was like, I like that, let's keep doing that. And so they just kind of kept that in the movie. Those kinds
Her
of
world
things.
is falling apart.
Yeah, those kinds of things put in here. Having Whoopi Goldberg improv a scene, or like Fred Ward do input on this, or even just to hire Tim Robbins as an actor because you like that he has a stage group, that he works with. I think this movie's pretty fucking incredible. I think the satire is so on the nose, but also pretty subtle at a lot of points. And yeah, I like it a lot. I'm gonna return to this often. I'm gonna give this a 8.3.
8.3 for Sean. AJ, what about you, man?
Man, it's like this is one of those things that I would just probably simply refer to as a smart movie. If I was just gonna try to keep it real simple, it's like it's a very smart movie for a lot of different reasons. I think the way that it's a very meta, like aware of itself movie, with only having so much really breaking through pretty much just right there in the beginning, that snap. It's hard because like I really like the movie, but it's not one that I want to always return to. I want to return to this just to watch the movie, rather than like, oh man, I just need a movie tonight, So I don't know if that's better or worse necessarily. It's not. Maybe it's not, maybe it's neither. For me, like I guess looking through, I want to say that this is probably. Yeah, I mean, I would say that this is right in the vein. I'm going to give this I'm going to give this an 8.05.
Nice.
Damn, dudes, you're going to be higher than me, but not by much. I initially was not liking this, but then the moment flipped for me to realize that I was enthralled by it. I was just like, yeah, whatever. This movie, I don't even know. And then I'm realizing that I'm just so into it without even knowing that I'm into it.
That's a great way to put it. Yes.
I was so excited to continue watching it and finishing it and seeing what was going to happen. I don't know. It's okay. It's okay all around, just as a story and something I want to revisit. But at the same time, there are some unbelievably incredible moments in it, and it really is a genius play on Hollywood and arts in general and how that business works. So I'm giving it a decent little 7.5 right in the middle.
Nice.
We do got to see what Starling says. He says the movie starts and right away I'm in my element. I love movies about movies, and the player nails that Hollywood insider vibe with backlots, pitch meetings, industry banter. We even have a young Ari Gold giving tours. I forgot about that. The pitches themselves are wild, and my favorite is it's like Ghost meets the Manchurian Candidate. And the cameos, a 90s who's who. I've always had a theory that this movie confirms the 90s churned out the biggest movie stars of all time. Every name dropped here is still famous, and they were just getting started. Today, Meg Ryan might be the least famous, which says a lot. The player's pace moves slowly, but for a while, the cameos and Hollywood in-jokes kept me entertained. Griffin's quick thinking after the murder struck me as a unique skill someone's who's read thousands of scripts would be fortunate enough to have in that moment. That's interesting. Shout out to the Rialto Theater in Pasadena, by the way, the same theater that opened Scream 2. Pure nostalgia inside nostalgia for me. Then, Tim Robbins' low-energy performance started to lose me. Enter Whoopi Goldberg. Effortlessly charismatic, she's a scene stealer, reminding me that she was such a huge movie star then. Whoopi doesn't have to try too hard. She just naturally pulls focus and makes every scene she's in more fun. The scene about the tampons just to fuck with Griffin, she doesn't give a fuck. She's Whoopi. I mean Detective Avery. Then there's Griffin's love interest, June. I genuinely do not like June. She's got this cold Nordic reserve that makes her feel like an anchor amidst all the Hollywood chaos, but she's so disengaged. I didn't connect with that character. She's direct, unbothered, and the total opposite of Bonnie, who's annoyingly radiates warmth and optimism. I have to assume that she was even cast for her lack of wow factor. There you go. She's not a leading lady in this story. June feels right to Griffin. She's detached from Hollywood circus, but certainly not immune to its perks. One of my favorite lines is when Griffin tells June he can only make 12 movies a year, so they have to be good. It's about the only real vulnerability we get from him. Also an insight into how stressful the job must be in real life. The player is satire, but I kept wondering if it's like American Beauty. Does it feel less original in 2024? In the 90s, that Hollywood needs a happy ending theme probably felt sharp, but now it's a little on the nose. Practically ending like Somewhere That's Green with Audrey and Seymour. Still, I enjoyed this skewed view of Hollywood. I like seeing how movies get made and the sacrifices people make to stay in the game. And there's a reason the player stuck with me all these years. Not long after seeing it for the first time, I saw a behind-the-scenes interview where someone said Bonnie had to be destroyed at the end of the movie because there's no place for nice people in Hollywood. Ouch, poor Bonnie. That line landed hard for a high school kid who once dreamed of being a writer. It stuck with me for 30 years, and I wondered how the movie would hold up on a rewatch. It's still decent, a 6.25, good for the 90s nostalgia, but I'm fine if I never see it again. Epilogue, holy car fax machine. That prop deserves its own shout out and a steal. I can't even call that 90s nostalgia because I've never seen that before. So 6.25, that's going to take us to a 7.53. And if you look at our grand scheme of things, a 7.53 is going to take us all alone at the 74th spot. Going to be just below Heather's, Tombstone, and The Wizard, but just above Karate Kid, Mighty Ducks, and Young Guns.
That's some good company,
is
man.
how we feel about that movie.
Two things on that. I can't believe we didn't really talk much about Jeremy Piven. Love Jeremy Piven. If you need anybody to go get sushi with you, sashimi, give me a call. Okay?
Because Japanese corporations have bought up all of the studios in Hollywood. That's what that was referring to.
Gotcha. Is that right?
Yeah.
I thought it was like just simply for the Sony reference or something. Oh my gosh, that's great. Last thing, I completely agree with Starling. I don't think I was infatuated as June as much as you guys were. So
gotcha. One more thing that Starling kind of brought into my head is like his infatuation with June. She's an artist who paints that doesn't sell her art or put it in galleries whatsoever for people to see. So he's probably super attracted to that as far as like people coming to pitch him shit, whereas an artist is just doing art just to do art, not to get it, pay them for it, you know. kind of a weird thing.
She is the only real artist maybe in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for being here. Tune in next week. We got Gladiator, and we're following that up with Blade. And if you're new to the podcast, go back this time last year, a very, very fun rewatch and fun episode, Role Models. That was a fun conversation.
Role models, roll on out of here, guys, but not before you give us a little like and a star or 5 stars maybe. Maybe write us a review. Not before you check us out on social media. Confused Breakfast, just at Confused Breakfast, just wherever you are on social media. And by all means, check us out on YouTube. We're hanging out on YouTube. New things are popping into the studio every single day. Brian, behind the controls, just brought us in some new trinkets.
Yeah.
We got new posters coming up. Lots of cool stuff happening on YouTube in the studio, guys.
Go to confusedbreakfast.com as well to see the merch that we have. I have seen it, you guys.
Oh,
we
boy.
all have seen it. The new merch is on its way. It looks fucking rad. You're gonna love it. Keep an eye out for that. We will tell you about that as soon as we can.
Pre-orders are coming soon.
Hey,
guys.
there you go.
Pre-orders are coming soon.
From the
Keep an
man
eye
himself. Confusedbreakfast.com as well to see the ratings at the movies that we have covered. You can see AJ's ratings, my ratings, Mike's ratings, and the show's ratings overall. Goodbye. I fucking love you. Movies now more than ever.
We got Brian on the controls from Upload Media Group producing the show. Learn more at uploadmediagroup.com and learn more about our network, Cloud 10, at cloud10.fm. That's it for us. Goodbye.
Love you. Bye.
Piss time. Everyone loves a piss.